by Dennis J. Courtney, M.D., Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002 for Dennis J. Courtney, M.D.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to AM Impact on Your Health. AM Impact on Your Health, where every day our goal is to have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. AM Impact on Your Health is heard each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney, and I'm with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. AM Impact on Your Health, where each day you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, and fascinating health topics, of course, where we always encourage you to call in to join in. Today, well, you're all due for a treat up there at the Freedom of Choice in Cancer Therapy Group tomorrow night. In keeping with our pledge and our continual attempt to try to comply with that pledge, we'd like to bring you the guest speaker to the Freedom of Choice in Cancer Therapy Group of tomorrow night here with us today. Now, she's a local gal. She's extremely involved with nutrition, and in particular, nutrition with respect to helping in the treatment of cancer. This will all unfold today, as well as it will tomorrow night, up there at the Freedom of Choice in Cancer Therapy Group. Going to be at the Days Inn, same place, same time, just different day of the month. It is not the third Thursday, it is the fourth Thursday, as you would well know. But if you have any free time tomorrow night, I encourage you to go up and visit with Janet M. Mckee, our guest today, a health counselor, but what she counsels you in will be difficult to obtain in any other place. You'll be seeing what we mean as the morning moves on today when we discuss this whole issue with her. Now, if in the course of our discussion with Janet today you want to call in to ask a question or to make a comment, that number, of course, as always, will be 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. Now, up and coming. Here they come at you. Hope you enjoyed Lou Paradise on Monday, talking about the, goodbye to pain pills and all the side effects with a homeopathic preparation that certainly sounds very promising. Looks like you can pick it up at Whole Foods and other retail outlets around town called Topricin. By the way, if you need more information on it, you can go to the website at topricin.com or the 800 number that Lou talked about during the show on Monday. I'll give it to you once again, 1-800-959-1007. That's 1-800-959-1007. Now, on Friday, finally, our good friend David Brown's going to be back with us. He will be discussing his newest of his 10 books. We've talked about it many times. We just haven't gotten into the plowed into the thing yet. I'm looking at it sitting here on my desk. The Soy Deception is the name of the book. Evidently, we need to find out how we're being deceived by soy and make the correction so that deception can no longer continue. David Brownstein, our guest on Friday, in keeping with trying to meet with him once a month to go over all of his many books. His topics are always exciting. His ability to cover complex material in a simple way to help you and me figure out how we can better live our lives, I think, has always been a plus with David. He'll be our guest on Friday. Then we do return on Monday. It is the last day. I'm guessing the time changes this weekend, so you don't want to forget that. We'll be following backwards, and we'll want you to make sure that you aren't late or early. I forget which one worked out for church on Sunday. Please make that change. And then we move into the month of November. We'll have on the 7th with us Roland Thomas. He'll be talking about the bioengineered algae concentrate, what I call the all-inclusive with respect to supplements goes. Everything wrapped into one. You name it. Vitamins, minerals, whether they're macro or micro, trace, they're all in there. All 80 of them plus. And then the enzymes and amino acids and all the essential fatty acids. Just really haven't found one supplement able to do it all, and in a form that would be considered organic, and because algae are one-celled plants, completely assimilable and absorbable by the gut in the human being. So we'll be talking about more about F3, and in this particular case with Roland, the role that it may play in helping correct diabetes. Certainly a new twist for the use of the product, and we'll find out about that on the 7th. Then on the 9th, we're going to have Dr. Vavoom back with us. Dr. Susan Smith-Jones is talking about the holidays, folks. They are coming up as we turn that page, and sort of in anticipation for the weight gain issues that accompany these holidays in particular. She's going to give you 10 tips how not to gain weight over those holidays. Should be an interesting time with Dr. Susan Smith-Jones. As the schedule fills up, I'll continue to inform you on those fill-ups, and as we march on in the month of November, I'm sure many more guests will be occupying the month, as it always happens. Now, I want to mention MCG testing. We continue to promote that testing. Those of you who have participated in MCG testing, and it's time for your next test, you now can obtain it here in our office. We have the machine, the device, half of the time in the month. We've so shared it with another doctor in the South Hills area. He gets it half the time, we get it half the time. And so if you're here to see me on regular appointments, we will schedule you in to get MCG testing in whatever way we can, so that it really is no fuss, no muss. We'll arrange it for a time that you're here anyway. If in fact, however, you've never tested before, you're really not a patient here yet, and you just like to be tested to get those results so that we can go over them, in the month of November, for the McMurray office, that test date is going to be November 10th. And that will be a Thursday, November 10th, here in the office. We'll schedule as you call. Give us a call here at 724-942-3002 to get MCG testing, multifunctional MCG, multifunctional cardiogram, a electronic way to assess the coronary arteries with 91% accuracy, as though you had a full-blown cardiac catheterization without ever having had that cardiac catheterization. Now, those of you who live out in the eastern part of the city, Monroeville in particular, if that's more geographically pleasing to you, our testing date out there is going to be November 22nd, which is a Tuesday. So each and every month, we'll be having similar opportunities for you, the listener, to take us up on the testing, whether or not we're more convenient to you in the eastern part of the city or here in the South Hills. You can make that decision, but there'll be an option for you to go to either place. This Monroeville office is really in a very large facility called Med Health Services, really be done in the offices of Dr. Oliver Caminos. All of you who at least are patients here know him very well. In fact, you may be seeing him on that date, the 22nd. Anyway, a couple patients have already arranged to be seen by Dr. Caminos on that date. We'll just make certain that you're also able to be tested on the same date, so that you do kill two birds with one stone, making one trip and getting double the fun, I guess is the best way to put it. So that's the way the MCG testing goes. The HCG testing, which is this human chorionic gonadotropin test that is offered for the earliest possible detection of cancer. A cluster, 12 cells or more, can be represented by a blip on the HCG radar screen, meaning you measuring blood and urine could detect the presence of cancer at that size, which is just phenomenal to think that it's possible to do. We've had many shows on this. Just go to the archives if you want further information on it. I'll give you the date of, the 12th. Go to the October 12th show where we had Dr. Shandel here on the 10th. Now, he was here on the 10th, and then we repeated. I did like discussion on the 12th. So 10th and 12th of October, the two shows that have dealt with HCG testing, if you want to clear that up. any more than is necessary already. Now, in the news, a couple of things. One, I'm just going to spend a little bit of time on because I think it's pretty important, and I'll talk about it next week on Monday when we have an open date anyway. But as you well know, I've had a lot of pride in doing cardiovascular workups in my office for a long time. And I think the count started at the eight blood tests that you needed in order to be getting a correct assessment of your risk factors with respect to cardiovascular disease. Now, that's how it all started a number of years ago. As time has moved on, however, it turned into the 9 blood tests. And now, here we are, there are 10 blood tests, and who knows, right around the corner, there'll be an 11th and be a 12th every time a new parameter becomes available. In order to get a better assessment of you and your cardiovascular status, I'll be the guy who includes it. Well, as it turns out, not the number 10 slot, but the number 9 slot, about a year and a half ago, was this new blood test, which I talked about then, entitled LDL particle size. So, you're all familiar with LDL, one of the components of the lipid profile. Of course, there's cholesterol, there's triglyceride, there's HDL, and the so-called LDL, sometimes called the bad cholesterol, which is really a misnomer. But it's not alone necessary to just know what your status with LDL is. What kind of LDL may be askew, what may be out of proportion, also is extremely important. I said this a year and a half ago when I started testing for it, but now here it comes in the media now. Yesterday's Tribune Review talks about doctors divided over the use of an extra cholesterol test. That is their veiled attempt to describe that there's another parameter out there called LDL particle size, and there seems to be a controversy going on in the medical community about whether really to order such a test. Now, I'm going to be talking about this at great length on Monday's show. I believe it's certainly a hidden agenda on the part of the investigators to want to get this thing out there. It's an important parameter. Yet I think you're going to find that the doctors are not going to order it. Why, you say, would they do that? Why would they avoid something as important as a brand new blood test to try to figure out what your status is with respect to risk? Why would they avoid ordering that? Well, I think I'll answer the question. I'll wait till Monday in order to bring this and drive this issue home. And, of course, we've been doing this testing for over a year and a half now, but it's now starting to make its way in the regular media. Will it make its way into your doctor's offices? I doubt it. And I'll tell you why on Monday. One other thing that came out in the news, this morning's trip, has to do with a local health expert's laud, that means promote, that means applaud, papillomavirus vaccine for the boys. You've heard nationally that this is a big issue. Gardasil is the name of the vaccine made by Merck, and especially in one Republican presidential candidate history as the governor of Texas, this has turned out to be a pretty much of an albatross around his neck, because he originally made it mandatory for girls under 12 to get that test. We're not talking about that particular issue right now. What we're talking about is the boys who have never been named as an individual that should be getting this vaccine. Now, as it turns out, there becomes an issue. A governmental panel, wonder what the governmental panel is, it's not mentioned here, recommended young boys get the human papillomavirus shot, that's the Gardasil shot, a vaccine given to girls to prevent cervical cancer. Now, it's pretty interesting that a male cannot get cervical cancer. So, is it appropriate to urge or maybe compel young adolescent males to get the human papillomavirus vaccine for a disorder that they can't get? This is strictly dealing with cervical cancer in females. Obviously, there is a connection here because it is believed that sexual contact is what spreads this virus, and that sexual contact is going to be with a male, and that by protecting the male, well, probably not said by vaccinating the male, they believe that they would infect fewer number of females. Anyway, that's the gist of it all. I don't know how you feel about it. It's the first time the subject has come up. We've got it being administered already in Allegheny County by the Allegheny County Health Department as various pediatric practices throughout the entire area. So I bring it to you. It is if you have male children and female children, what do you think about this issue? Hopefully you can weigh in on this one on Monday. Also, when we turn over to some of the more recent things in the news that should make headlines here with us, and we'll do it on the Monday show, whether it has to do with LDL particle size, which I'll go over, or this issue of male children, 12 and up, getting the human papillomavirus vaccine for a disease that they can't on their own contract. Very interesting, is it not? Okay, let's do this one. Let's take a short break. And in the interim, I'm going to go find her, folks. It's a local girl, so we won't have to go too far. And this is the same gal who's going to be up there at the Freedom of Choice and Cancer Therapy Group tomorrow night. Her name is Janet Mckee. Let's find out about Janet in just a moment. Be right back.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. Have you become confused about how best to manage your health? It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Want to help your family eat healthier? Instead of learning to disguise tofu in wondrous ways, how about some real nutritional power? If your family has the typical American palate for fries, pizza, and burgers, giving your family the blessing of good nutrition is a struggle. Fruit of the Spirit is the answer for your family's nutritional needs. Fruit of the Spirit is an all-natural, whole fruit puree made from fresh fruits native to the Holy Land with alkalizing minerals. Fruit of the Spirit was 5 years in the formulation, the work of a team of top nutritional experts with independent science to confirm its antioxidant power. 1 ounce a day provides the equivalent of 5 servings of fruits and minerals. Fruit of the Spirit is convenient, affordable, and delicious. Even your picky family will sing the praises of Fruit of the Spirit. Give your loved ones a blessing of good nutrition. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. That's 1-800-442-3793. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AM Impact on Your Health. Heard here on KHB6. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AM Impact on Your Health. Heard here on KHB 620 each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney with you today on a Wednesday version of the show, and in keeping with a pledge that we made a while ago, we always like to bring aboard to our listeners the featured speaker at the Freedom of Choice and Cancer Therapy Group, that although they take a break for the summer, they are now back in full swing and have as their guest tomorrow evening up at the Days Inn, just south of Butler there, 7 o'clock, a guest who we happen to have with us today. Now, she's a local gal, practicing locally, but working in an area that I think you're going to be interested with. And I really think that knowing that the Freedom of Choice and Cancer Therapy Group is the name of the group that she's going to be addressing, what we bring to you today is in keeping with that theme. And that's very unique because every guest up there doesn't necessarily talk about cancer and how to treat it. Well, this young gal with us today is a board-certified holistic health counselor. She's been educated at the University of Pittsburgh. She's been also a member of the Institute for Integrative Nutrition in affiliation with Columbia University. She's been in private practice working in comprehensive energy psychology, and she's been selected as a representative for the Cancer Project of the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, dealing with the treatment of cancer. She'll bring that theme with us today. Her name is Janet Mckee. I welcome her with us right now. Say good morning. Thanks for coming aboard. Glad to have you with us, Janet.
Good morning, Dr. Courtney. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Well, I'm looking forward to being able to titillate our listeners to come and see you in person up there tomorrow night at the Freedom of Choice in Cancer Therapy Group. The topic is right on target with how the group was formed anyway. And because you're a local gal, I really do think it's an opportunity for people to get to know you and can come to ultimately maybe see you and be counseled by you with respect to many issues, not just the cancer one, because you're involved with so many other medical problems that could come up where nutrition could be the ultimate tool to getting it corrected. But let's talk a bit about Janet Mckee. And, you know, you've arrived at a point where you've attained a level of achievement in your profession that is laudable. But how do you come by it? What's your early beginnings? Why is it that you've chosen this profession? And talk a little bit about your personal saga to arrive to here where we are today.
Okay, that's a wonderful question and a good place to start because I had quite a significant career change midway. I actually was in the corporate world for many years. I was an MBA type, working in a fairly high-pressure position, traveling a lot, working long hours. But in my 20s, I was diagnosed with a significant, I believe, health challenge called ulcerative colitis. And I was told I had to be on medication the rest of my life and there was nothing I could do for it. It was mild at that time, and I said, okay, that's fine, I'll do what I need to do. But as you might imagine, as I progressively got older, my illness got progressively worse. So about my late 20s, early 30s, I was experiencing a very stressful situation in my life, and it caused a huge flare-up of my illness. And at that point, the doctors started to increase the dosage of medication and so forth, and that's when we realized I was allergic to the medications that were available for ulcerative colitis. At one point, I landed in the hospital. I had internal bleeding that wouldn't stop. I couldn't eat. I hadn't eaten much for about 2 months when I landed in the hospital, so I was very, very skinny. And my liver was failing because of the allergic reaction to the medications. So I was unable to walk. There was some kind of an interaction between my liver and my ability to properly. It was very disconcerting. I mean, I was a very terrible condition.
That was a scary set of circumstances, sure.
Yes. So the doctor then came to me and told me he realized I was allergic to the medications. He said we had two options. Either I can try one other medication, but it has about a 15% chance of causing cancer, or they can remove my colon. And I don't know what came over me, but I said no to both of those.
Both of them.
And I got myself out of the hospital. I never forget the day my family came to pick me up. I couldn't even go up and down the steps of my own home. I was in really bad shape, but I started on my journey of learning how to heal my body naturally because I felt I had no choice. And I didn't know anything about natural healing, but intuitively something came to me and said, you know what, there's got to be another way. So I tried for several years, trial and error, and I would make a few steps forward and a step back, and then another step forward and another step back. And finally I discovered how to resolve my illness. So that is the turning point for me because that's when I decided I want to go ahead and get certified. I went to New York City. Institute of Integrated Nutrition used to be affiliated with Columbia University, and so I was there with that organization. And went there kind of cautiously because I thought, well, I was able to heal my body through food and lifestyle, and that's what holistic health means. It's mind-body healing. And if you noticed, I mentioned that my flare-up occurred during a stressful situation in my life. So there's a really close interaction there. And not knowing if anyone else could ever heal the body, naturally I went to school, and I was so impressed and amazed with all the incredible medical doctors that came to teach us at school that told us the same thing. You know, you probably have heard of Dr. Dean Ornish and the work that he's done to reverse heart disease through food and lifestyle improvements, right?
Oh, yeah.
He got people on a low-fat, plant-based diet, reduced stress, and increased exercise. Well, then we have the works of other medical doctors like Dr. Neil Barnard. He's proving he can reverse type 2 diabetes. He's doing it with holistic health. It's food and lifestyle improvement. So many doctors come there and teach us that food plays a major role in your health and well-being. And there are all kinds of studies and things that they've uncovered. The lead nutritional medical doctor from Harvard came, Walter Willett came and spoke to us. I mean, it was really so inspiring to me to see that my path that I was led down or led myself down was the right one.
You know, that in history that you just elaborated, which is pretty emotionally gut-wrenching, two things come to my mind as you were speaking. One, that in the course of the conventional treatment that you were receiving for your UC, your ulcerative colitis, it seemed that everything that doctors were doing right out of textbooks to help you was the thing that was literally killing you at the time, that you were having the consequences and the side effects to the extent that no matter what was being done, it was worsening your condition. So that's something our listeners could identify with. But there you were. You say you weren't trained in anything other than you had this intuitive thing about you that said, I'm not going to take either of those two options. There's got to be another way. You didn't know there was another way. That was a pretty big decision on your part, young lady, to venture out of the hospital. Most people don't do this. They remain in the hospital. They take one of those two options, and they have to contend with the crapshoot that they just entered into. That little game sometimes really works to their detriment. You, however, this intuitive thing about you, can you elaborate on it? You just seem to know sometimes what's best to do. Turns out to be a path you hadn't even known existed.
Yes. Well, first of all, you called me a young lady. I'm not 46, and I'm on absolutely no medication and have no illness whatsoever. So that's been years.
Well, let's just say this, at 46, you are a young lady. We'll let
yeah.
go with that. We'll let it go with that.
Sure, I'm still not in my, I was talking about my 20s and my 30s. It was a long time ago. Anyway, intuitively, I guess what came to mind, I think, must have been things that I was learning as I was growing up without me realizing it. My father and my grandparents were from the old country. And I always remember that seeing the way and understanding and learning about how they lived in the old country and how they lived off the land and they ate natural foods. Like my father would tell me stories. They lived in a very poor farm town in Italy, actually. And he would tell me stories about how they didn't have, packaged foods or processed foods or sweets. He would tell me that once a year they would have something with a little drizzle of honey on it, that they would get the honey from their honeybees. I mean, and he talked about it in a way where he felt they were so poor and somewhat deprived. When I look at it now, they lived a really beautiful life. And I don't know if people realize how amazing their lives were, living a simple life and off the land and just eating natural foods. So health challenges just were not prevalent in his community, and at least not the same ones that we're dealing with today.
Sure.
So I remember growing up, and my father always had a garden, and anytime we were sick, my grandmother would chop up garlic and sauteed a little, make us eat it if we were coming down with a cold. I mean, there's little things like that. I guess whether it was just intuitive or I was already being taught this lesson as I was growing up, something came together for me to just search for a solution. And I'm thankful for that. And actually, I tell my clients that all the time, that often a health challenge is a gift. Those that think about, okay, I want to find what else can I do? I'm working with my doctor. I'm working with the doctor is very important. But what else can I do to help myself through this? And those that seek those other solutions or additional solutions end up with a gift because the illness forced them to find a better way of living. And always what I see is the new way of living is so enjoyable, the foods are so fantastic, that it's not like a diet, it's not like a regimen that you force yourself on. It's something that you actually enjoy and experience, and you learn how to reduce stress in your life, you learn how to live a better life, that you look back and say to yourself, I'm so grateful I had that illness because it taught me how to live a better life. And so I do think that often a health challenge can be a gift.
Well, in your case, it certainly was, and it wouldn't be the first. I oftentimes actually see a model that emerges where someone who's a health professional today becomes that professional because of their own personal challenge to them personally or another family member that launches them into the career of health in one way or another at all degrees, whether it's the medical doctor level, which I know is many of those who became medical doctors because of personal health challenges and family ones, as well as every other rung in the health delivery system. So it's certainly a model I've seen recreated over and over and over again. Glad to see that you were gifted, and you take that in the best intention as I offer that you got such a gift and you did such unique things with it. Now, you, of course, in your education have come to be able to deal with all sorts of medical problems. And I mentioned it to you. You do have your own practice now in the Pittsburgh area. Where is your practice located?
I have several offices around the city. I try to accommodate people in different areas. My main office is in the North Hills. I do have a part-time office in Squirrel Hill. I am actually at a medical practice in the South Hills, Complete Family Care at Water Dam Plaza. And I see patients at a chiropractor's office in Robinson Township, Robinson Chiropractic. So throughout the week, I see people at appointments at different offices.
Well, let's just say, if you're Water Dam Plaza, look out the window. We can probably wave at one another when you're in that office, because I'm located no more than a mile away from you.
Ooh.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that you've come to really be identified with and that you take pride in is your affiliation with the cancer project, this so-called PCRM. Describe it briefly and then take off on it a bit, because I think our listeners will be intrigued by the role that you have played and continue to play in people who have developed cancer as their gift, which is a heck of a gift if you look at it that way, but nonetheless can certainly be. Take it away for a bit and talk about your relationship with this project, how you were selected to become a part of it, and what the offshoots becoming a part of that group has led you to today.
Certainly. Thank you for bringing that up. The Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine is what PCRM stands for. And there's a division within that they call the Cancer Project. PCRM is a nonprofit organization founded by Dr. Neil Barnard. And he's one of the medical doctors that came to teach us at the Institute in New York City. So I became familiar with his work there. And I found out that they were looking for health practitioners across the country to hire, to train in the information, the research that PCRM has studied, so that we could share the information with the public in our locations. So I contacted them, and I had to go through, at the time, it was a really rigorous interview process, writing essays, and I had to do an audition tape of me doing a nutrition lecture, and was fortunate enough to be selected. At the time, I think there were only about 80 instructors across the country. They are expanding now and bringing on more people everywhere. But I went to D.C. and went through their training. And so what PCRM did and how they formed was actually back in the 80s. They wanted to look at these various illnesses. They were clearly aware that in this country we have very high rates of heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. And other countries did not have the rates that we were experiencing in this country. And the statistics keep getting worse, unfortunately, especially around cancer. Diabetes is becoming an epidemic. It is, what used to be called adult onset diabetes is now prevalent amongst our children, which is a disgrace, because diabetes is definitely an illness of poor food choices and a sedentary lifestyle, which is basically the American lifestyle. And that's why that illness is becoming so prevalent. But specifically, they went out to study cancer because the statistics are that 1 million people will be diagnosed this year with cancer, 1 in 3 women, and it used to be 1 in 2 men. It's now 2 out of every 3 men will be diagnosed with cancer sometime in their life. So the statistics are getting worse, and they wanted to understand why and what was going on. So they went out and looked at the countries that are living the longest and healthiest, like Okinawa, Japan, Sardinia, Italy, Crete, Greece. And what they found, in their words, was nothing short of dramatic. They discovered that food plays a major role. And as a matter of fact, the National Institute of Cancer Research has stated publicly that 50% of cancers are food-related. So what that means is that 50% of the cancers could have been prevented. If we understood how to nourish our body properly in a way that prevents cancer, then we wouldn't have to go down that path and that treadmill of treatments and so forth. So very significant information, and so they continued to study it, wanted to understand which foods fight cancer, why, what happens in the body, like what is occurring that is making this such an important factor. And what they did then is they created these Food for Life lectures where they put this scientific information together in a way that we can all understand and put to use in our lives. So what I've been commissioned to do is to teach this information to the public. I go through a nutrition lecture, which is a talk about what they've discovered, what are the scientific research reports showing around how food prevents cancer, and also what they say is improved survival once you're diagnosed. What we are seeing here locally with our clients is that cancer is reversing when people get on a better lifestyle. So it is incredible information. It's fun information. It's information that is really exciting because you know these are things you can do yourself. Like you know that you can begin to incorporate these foods into your everyday meals. And so what we do is we go through, talk about the impact of these foods, the nutrition on your body based on scientific research, and then we actually often make food. And you can see what food I'm talking about. You see me make it, which is usually really fun because I'm a health practitioner. I'm not a chef, so I make mistakes, and we have a really good time with it. And the point is, if I can do it, anybody can. It's like really simple. It's simple, basic things. We're not talking about all exotic, weird things that you have to go to, Thailand to get. I mean, we're talking about foods that are available to you right here.
Hey, that's exciting. The fact that you actually can not only eat raw in foods, but it's in how you prepare and what you prepare that you could come up with literally a food way of treating not just any disease, but specifically cancer. I think that is absolutely a laudable position to take. I'm very much interested to hear about the specifics of how you prevent and how you you said reverse, and you mean the C word? You mean people actually get turned around with respect to their cancers based on the foods that they take, that they eat, and turn cancer around?
Yes, and it's a complete holistic approach. Food is big. It's a big part of it because there are certain foods that will boost your immune system to fight cancer, and there are certain foods that feed cancer. So that's why food is really important, but also we improve the lifestyle of people. Things like, how are the sleep habits? What can we do to improve your quality of sleep? When you sleep, that's when your body heals and rejuvenates and detoxes. I mean, it's such an important part of living is good quality sleep. And we take sleep for granted in this country. We stay up late watching the news. The news is all bad news anyway, so that's not good for your whole emotional well-being. And then we go to bed late. Our alarm jolts us out of bed. We start our day with a cup of coffee. We're stressed all day. I mean, that is living in America, right? And that is key number one. And also, are we hydrated? Are people drinking good quality water? Are you starting your day with water? Are you getting exercise? And you don't have to be an athlete. You don't have to run 10 miles every day. As a matter of fact, what's really interesting is when you start eating foods that are right for your body, you don't have to worry about your weight anymore. So many people come back to me. Like I had a gentleman who was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And what's interesting with prostate cancer is often they're given this watch and wait period to see how quickly it progresses. The men that are smart will say, during this watch and wait period, what can I do to improve my chances and my health? And they come to someone like me, okay, what can I do? And we get them on the program. And this one gentleman came back to one of my classes actually a year later, and I was like, how are you? I haven't seen you for a while. And he said, well, I'm doing great. The cancer's gone. He was kind of shy about it because he was like nervous, like, is this really going to be true? Is it going to stay this way? And he said, but the most incredible thing that happened to me was I lost weight. He said, Janet, I didn't understand it. I've been trying all my adult life, he was in his 60s, all my adult life to lose weight. I've tried every diet out there. On your program, I'm eating more food than I ever have. I love the food I'm eating, and I lost weight. That was what he was most excited about, more than overcoming the cancer. So it is the whole lifestyle we look at, but food is key. And just on that note, I'll give you two more really exciting examples. One local woman came to me and a colleague of mine about 2.5 years ago, and she was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. She had already been through surgery and chemotherapy, and they basically told her she only had so many more months to live because she was on a medication that the purpose was to slow the growth of the tumors, but it would never stop it completely or reverse them. And the real issue was that particular medication is hard on your liver. So either the tumors or her liver, right, were going to be the cause of her demise. So she came to us, and we put her on a very exciting program, really eating a healthy diet. I helped her work on her stress levels to reduce her stress. I got her to start going out for walks, getting some exercise, breathing again, and improving her sleep habits. We are now 2.5 years later. Her last CT scan was in August. Her 2 small tumors are gone, and her large one they think is dead. They're not getting any reaction from it. Now, she herself made the decision a few months into working with me to get off her medication because she realized the medication was hard on her liver. And if she was going to heal her body, she made that decision. I would never recommend that one way or the other. But while she was still on the medication, when she was first seeing me, she went back to the medical doctor, and he did an exam of her liver and was checking the liver enzymes. And he actually said to her, I can't believe this. Your liver enzymes are improving. I've never seen anybody's enzymes improve on this medication. He said, whatever that girl is telling you to do, keep doing it, because I've never seen this before. But in any event, she made her own decision to get off that medication. And she's living a healthy, vibrant life. She's in her 60s. She's starting new businesses. She's dating again. She wasn't even supposed to be around anymore. And all we did was improve her lifestyle. We actually have a video interview of her. She comes often. She's a local woman. She comes often to my speaking engagements because she loves to tell her story. So very exciting. But let me say one thing. When she talks about it, so yeah, that's great that she is resolving her lung cancer, which is interesting, by the way, because people say, well, lung cancer doesn't have anything to do with food. Well, it has everything to do with food, because how you feed your body supports your immune system's ability to fight these illnesses, okay? So people don't realize that. But she says the most incredible benefit she got from this new lifestyle is her depression went away. Her entire adult life, she said she would wake up every morning dreading the day. She was constantly depressed. She was on and off depression medications all her adult life. She wakes up now happy, excited for the day, and she feels it's the food, changing her diet, actually improved her emotional well-being, which is true, by the way. I did a whole report on that. So isn't that interesting? One gentleman was excited about losing weight. This other woman was excited about being happier as a result of making these changes. So the benefits are many when you live a healthy life. So you don't have to wait until you have a serious health challenge, by the way. It'd be nice if people knew that you can start making these changes now and prevent all of that. But it seems like the health challenge is the trigger that gets people to wake up and say, you know what, I need to make some changes.
Well, look, let's take a short break. When we come back, I'd love to know, give us a little peek behind this door of some of those changes, in particular, some of the foods maybe to avoid, and some of the foods maybe to gravitate towards. Can you do that for us when we come back?
Absolutely.
Okay, there you have it, folks. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back with Janet to find out these plans, which are very intriguing, are they not? What do they include? And about those foods, which ones should you and which ones shouldn't you be eating? Be right back in a moment with Janet Mckee.
Have you been to the doctor lately? Was fatigue top of your complaint list? Even if your doctor asks you what you eat, the recommended 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day is a dream in your busy schedule. What if you learned of a product 5 years in the formulation that delivers 5 servings of fruits and minerals in just 1 ounce? That's right, it's Fruit of the Spirit. The blessings of Fruit of the Spirit are now formulated into a delicious whole fruit puree product rich in antioxidants and minerals. Your health is more than just a test result. It's a balance of physical, spiritual, and emotional factors. You work regularly to strengthen your faith. Let Fruit of the Spirit help cover your nutritional needs in a convenient and cost-effective ounce a day. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Fruit of the Spirit, 5 servings of fruits and minerals with no added sugars. That's 1-800-442-3793 for your good health. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. Have you become confused about how best to manage your health? It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AM Impact on Your Health. Heard here in KHB 620 each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney with you today on a Wednesday version of the show, Pre-Freedom of Choice and Cancer Therapy Group Show, which is going to take place, that meeting up there in Butler, just south of Butler, Days Inn, tomorrow evening at 7 p.m., where this young lady in attendance with us today, Janet Mckee, is going to be the featured speaker talking about how she does what she does, which is to take lifestyle and nutrition and correct a whole host of medical problems, none the least of which is cancer itself. We have Janet with us today answering many of those queries right now, and we're going to plow into it a little more. Janet, are you with us, my dear?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Hey, you don't mind taking a question, do you? Because I'm going to knock on the door. I want to talk to you. Do you mind it?
Oh, sure.
Hey, come right ahead. You're with Janet Mckee. Go ahead. What's your question?
Okay, hi, Dr. Courtney. This is Dennis. I sent some papers up to you about, I got a spot on my liver, they said, and they're interested in doing a biopsy on it to try and find out what it is.
Sure.
I was interested to see what she thought about biopsies, and I guess they still want to do chemotherapy on me like that, and I've been holding off for as long as I can on that.
Yeah, well, I think we've already spoken, Dennis, and so I'll be happy to go over this newest wrinkle with you. But let's hear from Janet now. Janet, this is a gentleman who's diagnosed with liver metastasis, to be quite honest with you. You don't mind me saying that, Dennis? And so with these liver mets, he's being recommended to have more biopsies and potentially chemotherapy. Now, I know you don't really get involved with advising against doing treatments, but you've come across this situation many times, and in your own personal case, refused to have what was believed by your doctors to be the treatment that you actually need. So intuitively, how do you instruct the gentleman that's speaking with us today?
Oh, dear. I have to say, as a holistic health practitioner, I cannot advise you one way or the other to choose or not choose a medical procedure. So Dr. Courtney would be better equipped to advise you there, I have to say. So I don't mean to disappoint either of you, but I want you to know I cannot advise on taking or not taking a medication or going forward with a procedure. But if you want me to talk about my own way of intuitively deciding, that is important, because I see this often with my clients that,
well, they're wrestling with a conventional therapy they know that it has dubious potential to help at best, okay? And so with that dangled out there, their problem is they know all too well that with mets to the liver and biopsies to select a chemotherapeutic medicine, to be quite honest with you, the picture isn't too rosy when you progress to that sort of circumstances where liver mets are being assessed to pick the right chemo, when in fact any chemo isn't really the right chemo. And I'll put that as a doctor up on the table where, Janet, you might not be able to. But I think that you were proceeding on what I'd really love to hear from you. You started to say intuitively, how do you make this decision? Because
yes,
it was the same decision that you made, although maybe cancer wasn't the reason behind the decision. It was still a challenging medical issue. You were recommended to pursue a course of treatment. Intuitively, you knew not to. Now, maybe that's what to ask you about to help this patient out.
okay, there was work done called The Biology of Belief. I don't know if you've ever heard that book, where it's what you feel and what you believe. And let me tell you something. If you feel that this procedure and working with this doctor is going to help you, then I recommend you move forward. Okay? If you believe and feel that it is going to be harmful and not beneficial, then you stop and you say, can I have some time to think about this and to reevaluate? And during that time, or in either case, you still want to move forward with improving your diet and your lifestyle. Let me say, there's so many things you can do to improve the health of your liver. So many incredibly simple things you can do. with foods that you take in, fresh juices. Okay, so in either case, no matter which way you decide to go, I want to encourage you to choose also in making some improvements to give your liver the best chance possible. So I've had clients that have said, you know what, I don't feel right about this procedure. I don't feel right about this therapy. I'm not going to move forward. I'm going to give myself some time to see if I can turn things around on my own. And they do. I have other clients that say, you know what, I do feel I need this procedure, and I do feel I need the chemotherapy or whatever. But at the same time, we do the work to improve the lifestyle. So I truly do believe that it's what you believe. And when you go forward with whatever choice you make, I want you to make that choice in a positive way and say, you know what, this is a choice I'm going to make, and it's going to help me. You have no idea the power of your mind when it comes to healing the body. And probably someday, maybe 10, 20 years down the road, maybe 100 years from now, we are going to realize that more. That the power of your mind is probably more important than any treatment or whatever you do. So what's important is that whatever choice you make, you go forward knowing that you're making the right choice for you, and it is going to help you. Okay? Does that make sense?
Well, that was very good advice. Dennis, hope you take that and wear it well. By the way, you can come on in to see me. We can talk about these choices from a medical perspective, but I think the advice given to you by Janet is really great advice, and it does allow for anybody to choose for or against any treatment based on that belief system, which I think is a very powerful way to answer the question. Thank you, Dennis.
All right, thank you.
All right, now we got bongos in the background. That, Janet, by the way, signals our time out of here, meaning we've come to the end of our show today. But, folks, you just were titillated enough to come and meet this lady tomorrow evening, this young lady, 46 years old or not, up at the Freedom of Choice of Cancer Therapy Group. She's going to be there at 7 o'clock. Go on up and see her. Until Friday, when I'm back with you with Dr. David Bronstein, I want you all to have a wonderful day. Until then, this is Dr. Dennis Courtney with Janet Mckee saying so long for AM Impact on Your Health.
Thank you so much.
AM Impact on Your Health is sponsored by Dennis J. Courtney, M.D., Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania.